Good morning, guys. Today we are going to start wrapping up our first unit. We've gotten really far into this unit about the geology of Mars. We've looked at a lot of evidence so far, and hopefully we're ready to start making a claim and supporting that with our evidence and making a pretty good argument about what we think has happened on the surface of Mars to form our channel. So today we're going to start looking at how to actually support our evidence, how to support our claim using our evidence and using reasoning. Now, in order to do that, we're actually going to have a slightly different conversation, not really about Mars first, so that we can look at an example. You might remember earlier in the unit, we looked at this scientific argument kind of diagram where we start with a question. Our question was, what formed the channel on Mars, lava or water? We're now going to start making a claim, and near the end of class, I'm going to give you an example of a claim that you could make, one that I think a lot of people will make. And then we're going to look at some of the evidence we've actually had. How can we connect that evidence to our claim by using reasoning? So in order to do that, we're going to look at something completely different from Mars. We're going to look at Coca-Cola. Now, our question that we're going to be asking is, how does drinking cola affect your health? My claim that I'm going to be telling you is that drinking Coca-Cola is bad for your health. Not saying it's bad, not saying I don't like it. I love it. I actually just had one with my lunch, one of those little tiny cans. But my claim is that it's bad for your health. My evidence here is that cola contains a caramel coloring ingredient called 4-mel. And now, if you remember when we talked about evidence, you should always be able to find and point to your evidence. If I take my can of Coke that I actually had from lunch and look at the ingredients, the third ingredient on here, you probably can't see it on camera, is caramel color. And that is an ingredient called 4-mel that gives Coca-Cola that very distinct color that you're probably used to seeing when you pour it into a glass. So we're going to look at our reasoning tool, or like why this evidence matters. My evidence here is that cola contains 4-mel. I can point to that right here. That is my evidence. My claim is that it's bad for your health. Now, you might be thinking, if I tell you, hey, drinking cola is bad for your health because it has 4-mel, why? Why though? What does that really matter to me if I'm drinking something called 4-mel? How is that bad for my health? If I just leave the evidence, well, I'm not really explaining why that's bad for you. So what I need to do instead is actually give you the reason. Why does this evidence matter? Well, cola contains 4-mel. 4-mel is a food coloring that has caused cancer in lab rats. Many things that are bad for rats are bad for other living things like humans. Therefore, drinking cola is bad for your health. So what I'm doing to connect my evidence to my claim is telling you why it's bad for your health. Well, if I'm just saying it's bad for your health and I'm giving you the ingredient that's bad for your health, what does this ingredient do? We know that we often use lab rats to test ingredients and make sure they are safe for humans because we have a lot of the same internal organs. So something that a lab rat might react to, humans might have the same reaction. So I can see that if it's unhealthy for lab rats and causing cancer in lab rats, it's probably also going to be a cause of cancer in humans. Therefore, 4-mel is bad for your health, and drinking Coca-Cola that has 4-mel in it must be bad for your health. Again, not saying I don't drink it, I love it, but this is a pretty good example of how the evidence itself isn't enough. If I give you the why or the reasoning, now we can start to understand how my claim makes sense. So you might have been thinking originally like, why though? And now you see this reason why, and you're like, all right, you're right, I get it. So that's how we're going to connect our evidence to our claim using reasoning. Now, what I want you to do on the next page is tell me, out of these two arguments, which one is a better argument and why. So argument one is just drinking cola is bad for your health. Cola contains a caramel coloring ingredient called 4-mel. Avoid drinking cola in order to stay healthy. Argument two is drinking cola is bad for your health. Cola contains 4-mel, which is a caramel coloring ingredient that has caused cancer in lab rats. Many things that are bad for rats are bad for other living things, such as humans. Therefore, drinking cola is harmful to the health of humans. You're going to be the judge here. In your next page, I want you to actually tell me which of these arguments is better, and make sure you include why. I'm looking for your reason why. When you get to that page, you can look at this picture on its own as well to make sure that you can reread these arguments and use them in your actual claim. Once you're done, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. After that page, you will see another tool that we're going to use to connect some of our evidence to reasoning, so that tomorrow when we actually write our full argument, you will be able to kind of go back to this work and see what you said for your reasoning. So what we would do here is look at each evidence card that supports our claim. In this case, I'm going to be saying that flowing water formed the channel on Mars. That will be my claim. A lot of you are probably going to write the same claim, and that is okay, because we've looked at a lot of evidence that points to flowing water could have possibly created that channel on Mars. So we should have kind of gotten to that point, but it's still up to you to make that decision and tell me why. Now, if my first claim here is flowing water formed the channel on Mars, and I'm looking at my evidence card A, which was satellite images of channels formed on Earth by water, that picture that I just put up on my screen, how does that matter? How does this evidence support my claim? If I just said flowing waters form channel on Mars, here's these pictures, that doesn't really help me. I need to explain why these pictures are important. So something I could do to actually connect my evidence and my claim would be to talk about what I see in these pictures compared to what I see on Mars. For example, in the top picture right here of the channel formed by water in the Amazon, I see a lot of small rivers and streams branching off of that channel. On my picture of my channel on Mars, I also see small rivers and streams that look like they could have branched off of that channel. Therefore, if a channel formed by water has these branching rivers, then my channel on Mars was probably formed by flowing water. You could also say something like, in the picture in South Africa, I see a river that has some winding bends and curves. In my channel on Mars, I also see these same winding bends and curves, meaning that my channel on Mars may have been formed by water, because water causes winding bends and curves in a channel, while lava just had a straight channel. That would be an example of how you could actually use your evidence to support your claim by giving reasoning. Why does your evidence matter? How can you explain it further? You're going to do the same thing for evidence card A, evidence card C, and evidence card F. You can come back to this video. I just gave you your answer for A, but you will still need to type it out yourself. And then evidence card C and evidence card F, you'll do on your own. Once you're done with that, you have a pretty good idea of what you'll be writing tomorrow when you do your chapter task of actually crafting your argument about what formed the channel on Mars. You can go ahead and start that now. And then when you are done, make sure you submit this, and you'll be able to access it again tomorrow if you want to look at your reasoning while you actually write down your argument.